Hey, Tracy Repchuk here. Welcome to 5 Days to a Bountiful Brand Challenge. And I'm extremely excited as we are now on day 4, which is all about logos. And so actually today's going to be relatively easy. So we've gone on a journey, how to identify your target audience, how to select your colors, kind of how to create a tagline. And today, yes, we are on putting together as part of your brand, the logo, so that it will represent your brand in one simple image. So if you're interested in seeing any of the prior trainings of this challenge, at this point you need to head to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tracy Repchuk. And lastly, this training is interactive, so be ready at any time. I may ask you a question. Get ready to participate. And let's begin. Yay. Okay, now logos come in all sorts of shapes, sizes, colors, but the one thing you will discover is that they follow a format that speaks to their target audience through colors and creates a way also to evolve. So let's take a look at some popular logos. Okay, so here is Amazon, and you can see kind of that arrow that they had developed, right? And that was intentional and genius, quite frankly, in that they sell everything. You know, that's kind of their tagline. They sell everything from A to Z. And so that's where this kind of swoosh came along. The beautiful part about that is that has now, kind of just like the Nike swoosh, right? That has now given them the ability to really market beautifully. This is an evolution that you can admire. So now, then they went to the A with the, with the arrow, and now all of the products line, whether it be food, music, video, everything that they're coming out, just merely has to have that swoosh underneath, and it is now part of their overall brand. And again, that is just a beautiful move on their part. And let's take a look at another example. So Baskin Robbins, right? And how many flavors of ice cream do they have? Who can answer that? Anyone remember? Fantastic. Way to go, Shayna. Way to go. Oh, Dave's on. How cute. Yes, 31 flavors. And you can see that it's embedded, way to go, Noelle, in their logo. And that's just, again, genius marketing as far as the development of embedding a message within a visual. Really, really good job. And Tostitos, who knows their kind of tagline? And Dave, you can't answer. This one's a little harder because not a lot of people kind of might know the potato chip. But it is, there's a party in every chip. And you can see that, they got the two guys holding a chip ready to dip it into some salsa. Again, just beautifully developed, right? You can imagine, though, yes, these guys are spending millions of dollars on a logo design, so you expect it to be great. But it doesn't mean that you can't develop something really cool as well on a budget. It just, and when you go in with some ideas, that actually helps the designers. A lot of times a designer will be ready to do what you want, and not necessarily they'll be the creative. They're almost not paid for that. That does come, the more you pay, the more creative you'll get. And then of course, we've taken a good look at FedEx over this journey, and they embedded the go forward arrow as part of their particular logo design. So that was very cool. That's cool. People didn't notice some of these things. Yeah, it's really cool. I love development. All right, so let's take a look at logo evolution. One thing you need to remember is you don't have to necessarily um, kind of stick with one logo your whole life, right? So don't feel like as you're designing this or as you're getting your first logo that that's it for life. Okay, so you can see um, kind of where logos end up and where they began and things of that nature. If we take a look at Apple, of course, and it's kind of a cool thing. You can see that first logo that was actually designed by Steve, and that is Sir Isaac Newton sitting under the apple tree, waiting for the apple to fall. So my advice to you at this point is don't design your own logo, okay? He immediately got in a designer for the logo at that point, and that's where it began as the apple, okay? And nice, simple evolution. The only thing that's kind of changed is it's gone to almost this monochromatic hue. And then we'll take a look at Kentucky Fried Chicken. So 1952, so we have the name, we have an image, and this, in their case, was serving as a tagline, okay? They established very early in the marketplace, and so they wanted to do their longevity, okay? They wanted to show their longevity. Next, they moved to KFC. And so again, they gone to their branded red now. Red is a very dominant color in the food industry. Red and yellow are the top two colors because it makes you hungry. And then they also had their symbol, right? There it is. They used the actual KFC, Colonel Sanders. What was great about this move too is they started to really go international, and Kentucky Fried Chicken was just a mouthful to translate in all these different languages. So KFC was nice and clean. And so again, another great brand evolution that you can do as you start to get more of a hold in the marketplace. And then last but not least, they moved, since they moved directly to just his image. And that is what is appearing now all over the world. And that says, hey, there's a KFC here. And that's the beautiful migration and integration of a concept and an evolution to going international to just a visual now. No words need to be said. And then, of course, they've embedded their tagline along the way so heavily that that we all know, finger licking good, right? And here's a cool one, and why I say to you that as you roll out your first logo, you want it to be creative, you want it to be in your colors, but you just got to get it going. You don't have to get it perfect. Just don't have it look awful because that's representing you. Okay, so you can see back in 1898, I mean, good God, there's Pepsi Cola, right? I mean, absolutely hideous logo. I don't even, it's probably, we got to think back to 1898, right? I mean, all of this, I can't imagine how difficult it may have been to embed all of this on something. And then they moved to the little bottle cap and the Pepsi. And then you'll notice now we've got the red, white, and blue. So they really start to heavily embed the colors of the United States into their logo. And then in 1998, they've got the Pepsi, the logo, and then they kind of box it, right? And then, of course, today, this is all it is. And so now you can see, again, like KFC, they have managed to migrate themselves right to just a symbol, and we know what that is. All right, so This is for you to participate now. What symbol or what logo is this? I know you know it. There it is. Excellent. Mercedes, good job. Okay, so here goes into the impact of what something and somebody thinks about when they see just a symbol, right? Tell me, what are the what image or impression do you get of Mercedes when you see that symbol? And you know, luxury, quality, yes. You will recall that we did this in, I believe, lesson 1 or 2 with Oprah, right? We did it with Oprah. We did it with Richard Branson, you know, because they are above their personal brand, but the same result occurs, right? We said, what do you think about Oprah? What do you think when you see Richard? And what do you think? You think luxury, quality, high standards, you know, safe, that type of thing. And so you need to understand why it's important to have a visual or a logo as part of what you do, because you're embedding now a connection that people are able to relate to, right? And then so you want them to start to see your logo and think something, right? And if you did, then you did it right. So what does your logo say? And these are just a few that we've designed. And you will notice how we're designing, because in often the case is we're getting clients that are relatively new, or they might already have a logo, but it really didn't express what we'll call the, you know, kind of the unique selling proposition or the tagline, right? So these ones were all done from scratch, excluding Milton Edie's. So here, you know, we got legacy launchers, and then making it easy to launch your legacy. And you'll notice here, the colors are like this black and sunset orange and yellow. And then we took the symbol of the fire department because that's the market he was working with, because he was a former firefighter. Again, Sedona Dental, you know, you've got the tooth. Bruce Keith, we took this, we took prominent colors in the industry. And then of course we put the sold sign, and then powerful selling skills for guaranteed real estate results. So what Bruce did is he taught real estate people how to close better, or how to really close better in any situation, but we focused in on the real estate market because that's where he had a connection. Buyer investor match, perfect win-win for buyers and investors. And again, just kind of home, city, and you're taken care of. And then with like Milton Edie's, we couldn't change anything, but what we did do is add their what we'll call tagline, LA's #1 dry cleaners for fast premium service. That was an important addition because they were extremely expensive. And so they needed to almost a little bit warn people before they came in about why the price was going to be so different. So you'll notice in many cases, we have the name. This could be either company or your personal brand. We have an image and we have the tagline. And then you evolve, right? First, we have to embed everything in on what you do, because this is the only visual that's going to appear on the internet. And so if it's vague, like if he just had his name Bruce Keith, you'd never know what the heck that was, right? And this is why all this other stuff needs to build around so that it starts to embed the entire understanding of what you are and who you are. Now, when you are preparing to go to the printer, you'll remember in lesson 2 in colors, we talked about the RGB and what's called the hex color codes. Those are prominently used on the internet. When you want to go to a printer, they actually deal with what's called CMYK. It stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. And if you ever look at your printer, you will notice that those are the 4 cartridges in general that you have. And so now you need to take that code that you originally calculated for, let's say, your blue, your green, and your pink or something of that nature, and break it down. So what I've done here is I've given you a link to a tool that you can easily do that with. All right, so let's say one of the color, well, I actually don't know. I'm just going to type in something here, 48 and 19, and then it translates it to the C, M, the Y, and the K. Okay. So you'll see here too, they're giving you some like the RGB. See, they're giving you the hex, the RGB, and then you can calculate, of course, over here the CMYK. All right. Now, again, most people don't go to these depths to provide something for their printer. Often they'll say, hey, design me a logo. And the thing is, when you don't have kind of the surrounding knowledge for the importance of things, like color in particular, and like the fact that you really should add an image or a symbol in the beginning, because that's eventually what you could evolve to, they're not going to include that, right? They're just pretty well going to take your basic idea and give you something back, all right? Especially if you're kind of paying on a budget, right? If you're paying some unbelievable designer to do it for you, they'll know what they're doing. But in most cases, and I'm actually going to suggest a couple of resources for you, this knowledge is going to be extremely helpful. And then what symbol, the second thing you're going to take a look at is what symbol represents your brand, okay? So what you're going to do is then you will go to, again, we got our Google Images link, okay? And you can do some searches for inspiration. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of examples here. So in our case, when we were designing this particular logo, her USP that she was bringing already from her prior company was add a touch of magic to your image, okay? So the symbol we created was kind of this magic wand with a star on top because you're going to be a video star, and then we kind of just, you know, moved the film strip around it and of course made it like a dollar sign because we had Bonnie move into business video production. And then so in that field, of course, you can start to charge major dollars. In fact, I've partnered with Bonnie, and her and I have a group program or a partnered program in that people come to a studio, we shoot about 40 videos, and then I will put them and drip feed them to your YouTube channel at the rate of 3 a month. And search engine optimize them, keyword these things so that you start to dominate your marketplace organically through the SEO power of YouTube, #2 search engine in the world, over to Google, the #1 search engine in the world, and of course Google owns YouTube. So we've created this really good power partnership there. The second one you'll notice here, she's a personal brand, and so instead of an image, she went with her initials. So that's kind of like a power positioning, right? DM, and we've got it in this kind of nice, hard, you know, chrome type of color. And then Donna Meyer, Event Success Guaranteed. So Donna deals with helping you put on your own event. And so this is just what allows a situation like this is if she ever moved from event to something else, all this can remain the same, and pretty much the event is what can change, right? And then of course, Mary Stevenson, She is a animal communicator and healer. And so we created the dog with the kind of heart symbol and then integrated the heart as the A in her name as well. And you'll notice we chose purple, which is a very spiritual color, and the red for the love. So it all needs to start to come together more tightly. And then by searching online, you can get inspiration. For example, one of our clients said, I think maybe the infinity symbol would be good for us. And so in searching online, we were able to get more inspired and realize, why don't we come up with the infinity symbol, but incorporate part of it as a cradle and have like a little baby in there, because she deals with infertility and helping parents to get pregnant. So that's your symbol, all right? And there's the pieces right there. Excellent. All right. Now, the next thing you need to do when you're about to really launch out is you have to secure your main name, okay? This means you must be able to buy the .com or don't brand around it. Bottom line, never brand around somebody else's brand. All you'll do is feed them because they were there first. And this can particularly happen when you have a name that is common, you know, and if you weren't one of those early adopters on the internet, then you will find that you have to get a lot more creative on what you're going to do as part and parcel of your brand launch. So in this case, of course, I was able to get Tracy Repchuk, but I've had that for a very long time, right? And not that Repchuk is, I'm very lucky. It's not like it's, you know, Jane Smith or something like that. But yep, at that point you have to get creative and then embed that into the logo to feed your thing, your site. Okay, now the next one is to incorporate the tagline, right? So we spent the whole day the other day on this. So all you're taking now is your tagline and you're embedding it as part of the logo. Generally, we put it underneath at the bottom. It just seems to be a great position for it. And go from there. Nice and simple. Nothing much more to do there. Then you're going to take all of the pieces, and at this point you'll have a great template ready for your designer. And again, to be clear, unless you are a designer, please don't do the final graphic representation of your logo. Leave this to a professional. I will sometimes do a mock-up of what I want. I'll be like, okay, it kind of looks like this. In my situation, I told them I kind of want this pink, green, and blue. I want my image concept to be about technology. And so in that case, you'll notice that they actually created the E into like a chip. This is like a technology chip for a computer. Of course, my main name, which was the Tracy Repchuk, and the USP. This bar right here, I change all the time. And because my tagline, unique selling proposition, whatever it is, evolves as the deliverables that I have start to evolve. And so again, I told them actually I needed a design which was nice and simple for me to change this tagline out. And you'll notice I don't have an additional symbol to the side, but in my case, I didn't need it because it was embedded, almost like a little bit like it was embedded with the chips and the images, the 31 and things of that nature. So there's that. Now, what I like too is if I take my core name, I can now take it to different elements. So with my charity, my 501c3 of Tracy Repchuk Foundation, I just take my name, I added the word foundation, and then of course, it makes a nice way for me to continue the brand across many different things. And in this case, I'm empowering women and children to learn and lead. So where are some places you can hand it off? You can always hand it off to your local printer. You know, if you use Color Images or Got Print or whoever is in your area, you can always hand it off to them. Fiverr.com is another place that you can hand it off. One of the better ones that I like, though, is 99designs.com. And the thing you want to do there is run a contest, okay? And that way you get all of these people throwing their ideas in, and then you can pick the best one. So nice and simple today. We've done most of the hard work. So what you're going to do now is your exercise for today is to kind of prep all the pieces. And if you're still working on them, not a problem. You already have now where you're going and the framework that you're going to be able to use. If you already have a logo, this is a good time to make sure you have all the elements incorporated. Maybe do an update by adding a symbol, maybe incorporating a tagline, checking the colors, or if you take a look at this and you realize, you know what, I just kind of popped this out quickly in the beginning and redo it from scratch, okay? As you realize you may not have known, but you know now. All righty, so that's what your task is going to be. And then I just want to remind you where you can take some next steps. For example, we do the logo, but only as part of a bigger package, which means you know, you'd want to either have us build your entire marketing funnel, your landing page, your list building, your email marketing, and get that in for you, or your entire online presence. And then, of course, as part of that, you get the logo. We do not have a separate little logo thing. But what you can definitely do as an amazing partner, whether you're going all in with us, perhaps, and having us do some design work for you, or you just want a solid foundation to where you're going to be moving and the steps you're going to be taking over this next year. And that is my Message to Millions Mastermind program. So if you go to messagetomillionsmastermind.com, you can see all the details. The program is so robust and beefy. All I'm doing here is really honing in on some of the core elements. And so there are 4 major pillars to moving your business and really getting that seen and getting yourself seen. And of course, the first thing we have to do is get seen. And that is, of course, creating the message. We have been focusing a little bit on being brand you. This is one small piece of a brand. There's actually 8 elements to the brand. We have just honed in on, I'm not sure if we've only honed in on maybe 1 or 2 of the 8 pieces. So there's a heck of a lot more that goes on with being a brand, okay? And then your online strategy. How do you take that online? That's under the Get Seen pillar. The next pillar is you need to be heard, and that involves social media mastery, selling made simple, your book and product launch. Then the next thing as you move through your business is you need to make more money, right? So now we're into speaker and speaking. How do you get on TV, and how do you really put together an entire plan and strategy on how to take that core idea and make it $1 million business? That's what your $1 million design is all about. And then last but not least, how do you reach millions? And that involves taking a look at outsourcing. How do you add more people to your team? Putting on your own live event. That can be definitely a 5 or 6 figure day. And then last but not least, how do you pour on traffic and PR? And so that is this program. You can again get all of the details at messagetomillionsmastermind.com. And more importantly is you get lifetime access to all of what you see here, all of the trainings. But you also get 1 full year with me as your coach, as your guide, as your mentor, as your reviewer, all of that, which means every single month we get together and I review everything that you've done, or you ask me questions that you're encountering or telling me what's happening and you know, how I can help you overcome anything that you're encountering. All right. And of course, while this challenge is on, you can save 80%. So what does that mean to you? That means instead of paying $10,000 for the program, it's just $1,997. All right. This is, again, kind of like a Black Friday type of special. And so it's a really great time to jump in while this is going on. So how do you do it? You have to get in touch with us. Just email us. You can schedule a call with us at the tracyrepchuk.com/calendar. And find out and make sure this is for you. I may say, you know what? I mean, I just had a call with somebody and she was signing up for this. And quite frankly, she needed a different program and that was okay. And so that's what we moved her to. And this one might be perfect for you. This one is kind of perfect for you if you're the type of person that likes to do something yourself, you're good at doing stuff yourself, and all you need is that little bit of making sure that it's correct. Okay. And then, you know, you want to be a speaker, you want to be an author, you want to grow your business, you want to have better social media presence, you want to make a difference in the world, you have a message that needs to get out, and you want to get paid for your passion. You love what you do. You just have to figure out how to monetize that. That's kind of what this program is all about. Okie doke. So yes, just reach out if you need that code. Okay, so now tomorrow we don't have a class. Okay, there is a gap in tomorrow, and then we are back together the following day, where we're going to discuss how do you align all of this now, all of these pieces that we've been through. And as part of that class, I will also be doing a Q&A. So if you have questions, perhaps that have been building up, that you didn't post on the comment wall to get an answer, bring them and I will answer them all live. I'll go out and we'll take a look at everything. And then once again, I thank you for joining me today. And if you have any questions, post them in the Facebook group. And I look forward to being part of your continued journey. And hopefully you will take a look at the Message to Millions and become one of our coveted members. And see you next time. And bye for now.